Welcome to another episode of our District 79 podcast. I hope that you all are having a phenomenal time. Today's guest is someone who's a truly extraordinary and remarkable person. He is a renowned life coach, keynote speaker, and impactful mentor who has dedicated his life to help others transform their lives by unleashing their true potential. He is a certified personal mastery coach from the renowned Robin Sharma's Personal Mastery Academy, a chemical engineer with a postgraduate management degree with over 3 decades of corporate leadership experience in global petrochemical business. He is the Director for Marketing and Strategic Planning at Farabi Petrochemicals Company. Since his motto in life is to stay inspired and go inspire, he has propelled more than 250 young children discover their speaking and leadership skills through various youth leadership programs. He was the past division governor, district realignment chairman, a champion speaker, and is now our SATAC 2021 chairman. He is a distinguished Toastmaster Peri Sir. DTM Peri Sir, it's such an honor and pleasure to be sharing the frame with you. Let me start off by asking you a very pertinent question, which might be of great interest to our viewers as well. We all know that intelligence and ingenuity are a combination of innate ability and the way it is nurtured by our exposure to the various stimuli. What about the master trait, confidence? Do you consider it to be a personality trait, or can it be developed? Can you share your views, sir?
First of all, good evening, Madam Melika, and all your wonderful team members and all the listeners and viewers of this session. It's a pleasure meeting you, and wish you a great evening once again. Confidence. If I think the question, if I have to zoom into the main theme of this question, confidence. Do you see that as a personality trait or something that can be developed? If you ask my opinion, my personal opinion, confidence is something that it can be inculcated definitely by practice. Confidence is like a muscle. Okay, let me give you a quick analogy. Confidence is like a muscle in your body, and you need to be exercising it every day, and you need to build on it every day. You need to work on it every day in order to keep it at the top of your game. Whatever be the confidence need of your game or your functionality or your task, you've got to practice it every day. And that's why I say that this practice also needs to be consistent. Okay, some of us might have a feeling that we are naturally confident people. We are born very confident, but with all due respect, it is still a perception. Okay, if you feel that you are naturally confident, then that is just a perception. The reality is, what are you confident about? What is your game? What is your task? What is your functionality? I'm repeating them again for a reason. And if you have to be on top of that game, that functionality, you've got to be practicing the nuances of the task, of the functionality, or that field that you are involved in. Only then you're going to stay on top of. If I have to think of some famous statements to learn from, I want to quote the Spartan warriors. What they said about. What about being in your game? If you have to bleed less in war, you need to sweat more on practice. Confidence is something that needs to be practiced every day. And all the great players, all the great masters, be it in the field of music, be it in the field of sport, be it in the field of personal mastery or public speaking or science, all those masters always thought like a beginner. A master always thinks like a beginner. They put in so much of rigor and so much of investment into the daily practices of their chosen field of expertise. Otherwise, they're not going to retain their spot. They're not going to retain their place. They're not going to be on top. I don't know how many of you have read the statements of the great Aristotle. That comes to my mind. I keep reading him every now and then during my workshops and personal mastery sessions. I still remember what he once said about, there's a great philosophy that, do to become. We do to become. Let me explain it for you. Whatever we learn to do, we actually learn by doing it. Okay. What he said, to quote his words, I think men become or come to be builders by actually building. And men become harp players by playing the harp. And if you want to become a self-controlled, experienced professional, you've got to be practicing those self-controlled, demanding habits every day. If you have to be a brave individual, you need to be adopting or practicing practices that are demanding you to display bravery. So going back to the main point of the question, sorry for the long answer, I think definitely confidence is a skill that needs to be practiced every day to keep you sharp on top of your game. And anyone can become confident as long as he or she is going to invest into that particular area of expertise. You don't have to be born with so much of talent to exhibit confidence in the chosen area of expertise.
Very well explained, sir.
Thank you.
Basically, your values, your beliefs, your daily practices, which will help find your inner self and will help find that uniqueness in you.
Absolutely.
So we have always heard you speak about aiming to give our best in whichever profession we are in. So what's your take on the ideology that working your dream job may not always pay off in monetary terms, whereas a job with a hefty pay pack may not always make you happy, and it might also leave a kind of void in your life. So how to make the right choice between the two?
Very interesting and a much needed question in today's era. I want to thank you for this beautiful question. And let me, instead of speaking about my take on it, let me focus on this proposition. This is a very interesting proposition, especially in what most of these young generations today, the aspiring young generations are facing today as they enter into the respective careers. On one hand, a job which is going to give them a very nice package, but it may not help them fulfill their aspirations or dreams. On the other hand, here is a job, here is an opportunity for you to take on something that is going to feed your aspirations or dreams, but the pay may not be great. If this comes to me, and if someone is going to come to me, which one should I choose, Peri? I might give him or her a choice, which may not be an easy choice. It may be a difficult choice to start with, because today we live in a materialistic world. Today we live in a world where the externalities are given more value and weightage than the inner self. My choice would be take up the opportunity where you're going to have a lot of scope for you to get closer to your aspiration or dream, even though the package may not be really good. And let me try to explain to you why I'm saying what I'm saying. If you're going to take up a job which is going to pay you very nicely, but it's not going to feed your dreams, which is what you're saying here. Imagine what is going to happen to that person. He or she is going to be engaged in the job, mainly driven by the motivation to get that good salary. But on the day-to-day activities of that person's job, he or she is going to be involved in transactional acts. Mundane acts, or acts that are not going to fulfill their own aspirations, their own dreams. And there's no value creation in that job as far as that person is concerned. But at the end of the month, he or she is going to get a handsome package. And what are you going to do that? Okay, you might go out and then celebrate, do whatever you want to do, live life that you always demand, you are always dreamed of living. But success, this is my point, success without soulfulness is an empty victory. Success without soulfulness is an empty victory. I want to leave this as a brain tattoo for whoever is listening to this. It's not trophies, whether it is the gadgets that we are going to collect or badges that we are going to collect. If it is not going to fulfill the desires of your soul, your emotionality, and your mind's desires is empty. On the other hand, a job which is going to feed your aspirations, a job that is going to intrinsically motivate you, is going to make you fall in love in the task or the job that you're involved in. And therefore, what is going to happen? You're going to give your best. You're going to bring so much of beauty into every task that you're going to be performing. So what is going to happen? Yes, you have very low package, but as you keep doing, and you're going to deliver your very best, and your mind is satisfied, your heart is satisfied, your soul is completely feeling fulfilled, you're going to give your very best, 200%, 300%, and therefore your stress levels will be almost zero, because you're enjoying it, you're playing a game. When we play a game, there may be a physical demand, but we enjoy playing the game. Okay, and you're not at all stressed. You are, on the contrary, you're going to feel fulfilled. On the job A, you're going to be stressed. Okay, because it is striving. Striving means stress. And the benefits of a stress, yes, you get a pay package, but you are also going to get blood pressure, ulcer, I don't know, all forms of disease that is going to probably wear you out. But here you have a dream job to start with, yes, low package, but you're going to deliver, so you're going to sing a song doing the job, and the job is going to be outstanding. Your job, let's say you are working for a company or an organization. The organization is going to stand benefited. You are going to stand benefited. All the stakeholders are going to be benefited. And what happens? There is progression everywhere. You will not be there. You will very soon reach here. Your pay packages or whatever is going to increase. So my advice, take this, what appears to be a difficult path to reach a much more beautiful destination versus the attractive, shallow offering in the beginning.
Absolutely. So very well explained, sir. So the secret is find your vision, find the passion, and follow your dreams. And that is what will keep your spirits high, because you will love what you're doing.
That's right. We have to love. Look at, again, like what I've said, maybe I would add on a little bit here. Don't look at a job. Don't go for a job where you look at a job as just as a job. Look at your job as an opportunity for you to create mastery. Then success will follow. That is fulfillment.
Okay. So how would you define success? Can you share your insights on the daily rituals that one must practice towards self-actualization to attain our goals, which we have envisioned? Since you spoke about the daily rituals and the daily things that we do, which will help us gain confidence and mastery over what we are doing.
Again, a very beautiful question. You have to bear with me that I'm going to speak a lot on this, because you talked about daily rituals, self-actualization, so many things, which are all very important things, very essential things, which are all getting lost in today's fast-paced world. And I think these are all qualities we need to imbibe back into our system, which was practiced by all the great geniuses of this world. First of all, success. How would I define success? I think that is the main question. My simplest definition of success is, again, from the school of Robin Sharma. Success is all about being consistent around the fundamentals. Success is all about being consistent with the fundamentals of your game. And the key word here is consistency, because consistency breeds mastery. Whatever you aim to do in your life, consistency. We talked about practice. I'm reflecting back. Consistent practice to start with, the confidence practice. So consistency is the key word or the philosophy of mastery, one of the key philosophies of mastery. Because however long we get to live in this world, our life is rather short. And in order to, I said, it's to be consistent around the fundamentals. Because if it's not what we do once in a while or once in a year that is going to help us discover our genius or the legendary life that we are born into. It is what we do every day that matters. That is what is going to help us get closer to the legacy that we are born to create in this world. Therefore, we need to become consistent with our fundamentals. That is going to help us get closer to success. And because I told you about the shortness of the life and what we have to do every day, and every day matters, because our days are our miniature models of our life. So we need to get our everyday right. This is why, when I'm going to talk about the day, and the answer is going to be a little long, and you have to bear with me for that. Our dailies, our everyday is very important. The way we begin our day, okay, is going to demonstrate to us on the way we will live that day. So for which you need to get our daily rituals right. Starting from the way we wake up, how we program our wake-up calls, how we race into our everyday mornings. Even when we rise, how do we make our bed? Because making our bed is going to demand willpower. Okay, we always, willpower, one of the most important aspects of willpower, based on philosophers, is we have to finish what we set out to complete. When we get into a project, or when we get into doing something, we have to finish what we begin. Okay, and making your bed is one of those things that is going to give you more willpower. Because in today's world, energy, focus, and commitment are much more important than intelligence. Intelligence is becoming more of a resource that you can access. But energy, focus, on commitment are the mentalities that you need to keep on yourself. You need to demand on yourself as you go into this world. And coming back to daily rituals, we can have a separate workshop on daily rituals. But let me try to quickly sum up what I mean by daily rituals. We already talked about the way we start our day. There is this 20-20-20 rule from Robin Sharma's school, which is 20 minutes as you begin your day, exercise, sweat, okay, so that you keep your hormone levels very high, the dopamine and the cortisol levels high, and 20 minutes of reading or listening or learning, learning your passion. It could be not necessarily reading and learning, because I'm a Toastmaster and I am someone who wants to go and talk, so I read and write. If music is your area, okay, start singing. If you are a dancer, start practice a little bit. If you are a painter, and learn something about the painting. So 20 minutes. The next 20 minutes is reflection, and reconnect to your value systems, ethics, passions, and where you want to be in your life, so that these becomes engraved within your system. They become a brain tattoo inside you. And after that, you have to schedule your day. You have to schedule your weeks. Okay, scheduling your every day is so very important. We cannot get into this world just floating and expect to be successful. Success is something we have to seek. We have to go after. It is a well-intended, planned execution that you are setting yourself after. That is success. And aspirations. We all aspire. But do we balance our aspirations with adequate actions, consistent actions? That is one thing on an everyday basis. And increasing the productivity levels, for which these morning habits and also your sleeping habits are very important. Okay, we need to get at least a good 7 hours sleep. That's very, very important. So that, because we are all biological creations, however great, however intelligent that we are going to be, our health is very important for us to really give our best. Our state of emotionality is very important. our mentality is very important. And what is the other daily ritual I would ask you to do? Daily learning. We have to commit ourselves at least to 60 minutes, if not 60 minutes, 45 minutes of learning every day, reading. And getting into deep interior excavation. I don't know if you have heard about my 5R cycle, of which is, it will take time for me to explain it. Read, reflect, rewrite, relive, and represent. This 5R. If you're going to do it, make this as a way of life. Then you're going to bring out the best that you're born into. You're going to bring out the music that you're born into. And surround yourself with A players. Have a social orbit of A players so that they motivate you, they inspire you, they put in energy into you for you to give back to this world. Make sure that they are not energy vampires who suck the energy out of you sometimes. These are all very important daily habits that we need to focus, and also get into tight bubbles of total focus. Okay. Even when I have to speak, even when I have to present, to share with you my own personal experience. When I present personal mastery workshop or any other workshop, Toastmasters workshop, I get into TBTF for a limited number of hours for the few days before the workshop. Nobody can disturb me. My phones are off. My emails are off. Because I need to give my maximum productive and creative energy into my task. Okay. From beta waves, as I told you, my brain starts working on alpha waves and theta waves, so I can give maximum productivity and creativity to these things. And have the right peer group. We talked about it. And if you're going to make this consistent, regular, then it becomes a practice and becomes a habit. You will definitely see yourself moving towards success.
Exactly. So following these daily practices will definitely help you achieve your dreams. So great leaders are those who knew how to deal with the conundrums lingering in their minds about failures, about self-doubts, but they never lost sight of their peak, their mountaintop. So on those lines, what advice would you give to our youth leaders at Gavaliers who want to follow their dreams?
Very good and very important question. Anything to do with youth leaders and Gavaliers is always close to any Toastmasters heart and my heart. They are in the future, and you are a teacher. You know it's more important than how valuable it can be for the young minds. First of all, I want to, if I'm going to talk to them, if I'm going to talk to any one of them, I want them to remember what comes from personal mastery, that they need to know that they are so very precious. They need to know that they are such a precious creation into this world. There is nobody in this world who was ever born before them or going to be born after them who will be exactly the same person that youth leader or Gavalier is going to be, including my own children. You're very unique. You don't have to copy anyone. You don't have sufficient time to bring out your inner light, to bring out your inner glories and the primal genius that you are born into. So start setting yourself into the path of self-discovery. Okay. And these might sound big words for a youth leader or a Gavalier, but get into in their own way. The parents or the teachers need to help them discover themselves by constantly talking to them. I do talk to them a lot, and they need to realize that the odds of they being born as they themselves is, as I have shared in the past, it is 1:400 trillion. That is an amazing number. This is a number not crunched by me, but by the scientists. Okay, 1:400 trillion, and they need to set out into the path. They need to, early on in their life, let's say when they are in the teens. Now, I have a daughter who is a teenager, and my son is is a young adult. Okay. And when they need to find out what attracts them in terms of what they are good at doing, so that they can identify their talents that they are born into. Okay. Some of them are good in science, some of them are good in language skills, some of them may be good with numbers. These are all on the intellectual side. But what they are naturally good at doing, if they are, let's say, good at singing, or let's say, some of them could be great cooks. Okay, they will have this early culinary chef skills. Promote that. You need to stick to. You need to identify this one or two important talents, great talents that those things that come very naturally to them. They need to identify that, and they need to work on them every day. Work extra hours or extra passionate hours, having fun with them. Some of them are good in sport. Okay, identify the talent. I'm going to give you a little long answer to that. The analytical part is identify the talent, keep the talent, invest your time on the talent every day. Then look at the intellectual part. What inspires you? What keeps you excited? What excites you? Whether it is science or any other form of curriculum, whether it could be to do with numbers, as I told you, or something different, something more on an artistic form. Identify that. And then look at the emotional part. I mean, again, as parents or as mentors, as coaches, we need to identify the right emotionality of the child, which he or she is excelling at. Okay. And bring them all together, and then help the child develop. Again, even the great geniuses of this world gets the support of coaches and mentors. So I think if we are talking about cavaliers and youth leaders, they need to have a mentor, not during the particular program. They need to have a mentor for their life, maybe for different phases of life. It could be their parents also, and which is the case in many of them. This is on part A of this question. Secondly, since you talked about failures and not losing heart.
Self-doubts, yeah.
While self-doubts, yes, very much self-doubts. And at the same time, I think there was a little bit about failures in your question.
Failures also, yes.
Okay, and how to deal with failures. This is a very, very important part, especially in today's world, where there is they have so much of virtual connection. Whether we like it or not, today we live in a technologically connected world. We are in a global village. They are going to, and it is their way of growing up. We grew up differently, and they are growing up. And how not to be ridiculed, or how not to face failures or bullying on social media or other forms, and even in the classrooms, in schools, and as they enter the colleges, is very important. So they don't feel doubtful about themselves, as you said, self-doubts. I want to have some important points that I would like to share with them. First of all, whatever be your game, as I told, try to bring out your best. And your best may not be the same as what the people around you are going to be doing. You may be very different. Okay? And I won't stop here. I'm going to tell you, because our natural state when we are born is energy. We are all products of energy, all as human beings. And our natural state, as I tell in my workshops, is a mind filled with ideas, and a heart which is so much filled with love, and a soul which is so shiningly bright. But as we come into this world, and as we try to give our best into this world has this tendency of making us, wishing to make us as an average of the circumstances that we are surrounded with. Now, if you are going to therefore bring out something different, there is a big possibility that you might be discouraged. You might be even ridiculed sometimes. Okay. But I want them to remember this. All the great people. Let's talk about Michelangelo. When Michelangelo brought out his genius into this world, people around him were very scared. They felt threatened. This is a fact. If you go to Barcelona Museum, okay, I have been there, okay, and it is there is one section dedicated for Michelangelo, and it is written on the wall. When this man came into this world and started producing whatever he produced, he threatened this. He threatened it. He scared people around him. What happened? Why did it happen? Because when you bring out your own glories and geniuses, which are going to be different from others, you are disturbing the status quo of people. Okay, so they're not going to like it, especially when it is in the nascent stage, in the early on stage. So my point is, we should be okay with that. J.K. Rowling. Let's talk about J.K. Rowling. I think all of us know she went through so much of hardship. Okay, before she made it to where she made it in her life. She was a single mother. Okay, and she was. I think there's a lot of story. She was living in a small room with a child, and she didn't have space to write. She used to carry her child to a coffee shop. Just let the child play, and she used to write there. And from there, she became whatever she became. You know what she said, J.K. Rowling. That is my point. For some people to love you, you need to have some people who will loathe you in this world. And this is the price that you will pay for extraordinary success if you are going after it. And my message to youth leaders and cavaliers, when you are going to bring out your glories and your internal lights into this world, you are going to invite shadows and darkness around it. Don't worry. Move on. Move on. Connect with your inner calling. You know this left brain, right brain theory, right? Our left brain is more analytical, logical thing, but our right brain is more intuitive. It is going to reflect. It's going to talk to you and tell you, go after Peri. Maybe you could be. Maybe I think you have a flat to speak. Go after it. Initially, people will laugh. Go. No problem. Go ahead. I think you need. I want the youth leaders to remember that. I want the cavaliers to remember that. I want all the youngsters to remember that. Because we will fail. Whatever we do, however good we are, however great we are, we will fail. Okay. Failing, I want to tell them, failing is not permanent. Falling down is not permanent. But with practice, raising back again and again can be made permanent. I think very important message for youth leaders and cavaliers. The only true risk in life is in riskless living. If you want to be successful, you want to be extraordinarily successful, which we all want to be, take risks. And don't be scared of failures. Keep the love for your success much stronger than the fear for your failure. Keep the passion for your success much stronger than the fear for your failure. Because passion is the key word. And if you deconstruct this word passion, the root of the word passion is suffering. Enjoy those sufferings.
So you were so fortunate to have the influence of your grandfather. But from the part of the world where I come from, most of the parents, they thrust their dreams on the children and they want them to follow their aspirations, their goals, without even giving a thought to what the child wants. So we should be actually their guiding light, and we should just help them follow and tread a new path. So I hope it changes in the coming years.
I'm sure it will, Harman. I think it depends on, I think today the world, good thing about today's world, I know it's not a question, but it's just a reflection. I think the world has gotten access to become more and more aware as compared to what it was decades ago, where we were not connected. We were only, our windows of awareness were through some physical teaching, schools and neighbors and family friends. Today, there is a lot of good and bad things with this technological breakthrough. The world has to become more aware.
And your story, sir, it reminds me of another beautiful analogy of the musk deer. It spends its entire life chasing the fragrance from where it emits. It doesn't know that the fragrance actually emits from its own body. So this is what we all do. We chase happiness and we chase other things, worldly pleasures, but all these are internal. It's in our mindset.
Beautiful analogy. Nice, very relevant. Thanks for that. Musk deer.
Yeah, musk deer. And we are living in an era where we are bombarded with a lot of distractions, like social media notifications, news reporters screaming their lungs out. And these days we have these Zoom meeting links. How can one practice mindfulness and listen to one's own inner voice?
Very important and very pertinent question, especially the circumstances you described, the world that we live in today, okay, where there are so much of distraction in this world, so much of distraction, and as I repeat, Robin Sharma, addiction to distraction causes death of creative production. Okay. And we live in a world where many people are affected by digital anesthesia and digital dementia. Okay. And for many of them, they don't even know why they are living a life, the digressed, distracted life that they are living. Okay. They're every day. I'm not criticizing anyone. Okay. I'm just talking about what I see sometimes. And sometimes I get distracted. Okay. But people are just floating into their days, rather than programming and living a day where they will execute everything that they need to do. Yes, it is becoming very difficult to stay focused and stay away from these distractions. But maybe I will here try to be a little structural. I want to focus on externals and internal. Okay. What are the external things you need to be mindful and be aware if you want to be focused, okay, and avoid distraction by this ever bombarding social media and all kinds of media. You know, we need to have a gadget-free time every day. And I think at home, okay, whether I'm talking about us and the children. And I think normally children tend to follow what we do. They learn more from what they see rather than what they are taught. And we need to be a role model of that. First of all, and let me focus more on ourselves first. I think the question is for everybody, you're saying. I think on the external part, have gadget-free time, dedicate gadget-free times in the morning and the evening, every day, definitely. And you need to stay away from it. And other one that I would insist is time management. Okay. We have to plan and execute our days, like I said in the rituals part. Let's say if we are going to, we are having 24 hours in a day, we need to sleep for 7 hours, 7 hours at least, and we need to plan our morning routines, including the morning rituals, about 2 hours. When we if you are working for an organization, 7 or 8 hours. There's another 2-3 hours that you need to assign for your family time, your recreation, your sport, or whatever activity, physical activity that you're going to be there. And there are some 2 to 3 hours of clearly available investment time for your own self. And we need to plan for that. We need to make sure. This is all coming from the external. The time is also a resource that is not under our control, but we need to bring, I'm also classifying this as an external, and you need to manage the time. Because we need to remember one thing, as far as the external things, in today's context. Now, there is a big war going on out there, or big race to get our attention. There is a big race in this virtual world, including the TV media, to get human attention. There is a book, I talked about this book in other sessions also. It's called The Attention Economy by Thomas Davenport. Okay. We live in an attention economy today, like the industrial economy, agricultural economy, information economy. Today we live in an attention economy where human attention is becoming a very rare and scarce resource. And there are so many of them in this world who want your attention and sell something to you. It is not a monetary sale. I think your time is money for everybody. And why don't you understand that people are focusing for your focus? So stay away from that. Focus on yourself. Be mindful about that. This is a time. I need to invest time on myself. Be little too, it might be selfish, but it's important for you for your own development. So the cognizance of this fact will greatly help us, stay away from those external disturbances. This is one part, but this is much easier said than done unless you practice it every day. One. And second part is everything to do with internal. Okay. With us, as you said, being very mindful about our own mind is very important. Being conscious of our mind. Now our mind, our human mind gets triggered so many thoughts. In a minute, we get somewhere between 25 to 45 different thoughts. There's a lot of thoughts. Okay. And we need to control our mind, and we should make sure that we don't get dragged by our mind. Eckhart Tolle. Please, if you listen to Eckhart Tolle's video, the author of The Power of Now, okay, he speaks so much about how in today's world we are missing the power of now. Being in the state of being that we have to be, rather than being dragged by our mind. Now we should practice. Sometimes we need to just sit quietly, just quiet. Isolation is the essentiality of genius people. Just be in isolation. Feel your mind. That's why they say meditation. Okay, it's important. I'm not a great practitioner of meditation, honestly speaking, but I practice the isolated thoughts. I sit, and you need to just become conscious about your mind and what all thoughts it drags you into. It is so uncontrollable, and try to stay away from it. It is much easier said than done again, but we can practice it. Okay, then realize the state of being. Realize the I am, not I am this, or I am that, or I want to become so and so. No, just I am. Realize yourself. Realize the wholesomeness of you. What happens? And there are tests here. Whether you are being dragged by your mind or you are in control of your mind. One of the easiest tests or symptom is your ability to listen. Okay. If you are able to listen, everything that someone is going to meaningfully deliver to you, then you are in the current state, you are in the now. But our mind, most of our human minds, when somebody is telling us something, we are already preparing the answer. You must be seeing them at school, you must be seeing them at work. But this is, in fact, I'm sorry to say this is a little bit of a disease. I want to use this word disease. Disease occurs when things go out of balance. You agree, right? When things go out of balance, we have, when we are growing up, okay, we have our bodily cells multiplying. But if this multiplication goes out of balance and these cells are growing everywhere and they're going to cover all the area, it is a disease. I don't even want to name the disease. It's a disease. So now go back to the analogy. If you let our mind go so fast, so uncontrolled, you are having a disease. You will not be able to listen. You will not be able to learn. You will not be able to give you 100% because you are driven by anxiety and some kind of an unexplained curiosity. We are talking about mind and staying away from distractions. I'm just reconnecting it. I think I went to a lot of depth. But I want to close this by saying, Mr. Buddha, the great Buddha said, and for us, we need to be, this state is also defined as being in a state of enlightenment. Enlightened. We need to be enlightened. Every one of us coming into this world deserve to be enlightened and be in the state of enlightenment to become really great. And Buddha said, enlightenment is the end of suffering. And he left it at that stage. Then you have to read and follow. Okay. Because if you are given the complete answer, he knows that human mind is so lazy, we will not think and find the answer. But what the suffering that he was talking about is not the physical suffering. It is the suffering from this mind, the incessant thinking mind. Our mind is this mind is responsible for so many nasty things that happen to us. Or this is also responsible for so many good things that are not happening to us. Okay, this mind can either become paranoid, where we end up killing ourselves, or we become greedy. So that's what he meant by enlightenment is the end of suffering, which is mind. So I want to close this by saying that, if you want, being mindful about your mind is very important. Where, listen to me carefully. Enlightenment is the end of enslavement from an incessant thinking mind. That is enlightenment. Stay away from it, and you will be able to avoid those distractions. We all have self-doubts. You are not alone in this world. Let me tell you, we are all, I think, as human beings, all of us, irrespective of whoever you are, all the time we have self-doubts. The only way we can kill our self-doubts is by getting into those living a life where you are becoming more reflective. Okay, ask yourself those questions, profound questions, and bring out those answers and work on them. So practice, work, daily rituals, it is going to clear our self-doubts. It's going to keep us more and more clear. I have heard, for your information, I listened to Robin Sharma saying that he has self-doubts today.
At this stage, okay.
While I would love to continue this conversation further, I believe a break is much needed, not just for our guest, but also for our viewers to ponder a bit and reflect on those insightful words. With that in mind, don't go anywhere, folks, for we will be back with another segment of this episode of our conversation with DTM Peri. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep inspiring.